Okay, the next part of chapter 8. The boys meet in the middle of the circle, careful to keep their dogs at the edge. They hand their leashes to friends. They huddle to hammer the matches out. What the fuck you mean you want boss? Yours is too big for mine. He's a puppy, but he's scrappy. She can take on any of them. She ain't weak. I say a 2-fight limit. I say 3. Who gives a fuck what you say? I say 2. Sugar got it at least 2 in her. Homeboy got 3. Ojack can fight every one of them and whip all they asses. A chorus of groans. Buddy Lee too. Truck'll run all over y'all. Do you see, Slim? Do you understand what he do to Kilo? Ain't nobody for Kilo but boss. Wizard want in on Kilo. I said Kilo ain't here for nobody but boss. Y'all heard the man. Kilo ain't here for nobody except boss. In the middle of the dead circle, the boys snap like the air before a storm. Skeeta and China stand at the edge. The boys' arguing rises to an angry buzz, and the air that had been still before swoops and the tunnels through the clearing, raising dust, making the boys close their eyes. Maybe Daddy is right. Maybe Katrina is coming for us. Big Henry covers his nose with his rag. Did Medea bless the heroes before they set out on their journey? Did she stand on the deck of the ship like I stand in this clearing, womanly ripe, and weave spells for rain to cloak their departure, to cloak her betrayal? Had Jason told her he loved her? Manny holds Kilo's leash and stares at China. Skeeta and China do not move. Let's go, Marquis says. Skeeta and China leave the circle, stand to the side of us, but a little away, a little closer, Skeet's shirt darkening wet at the neck, down the middle of his back. China's still except for her ears, which flick away gnats trying to land. Skeeta fought China as soon as he figured she was full grown at a year. There was always a clear winner to those fights with dogs owned by boys in Bois Salvage in St. Catherine. She had fought every one of these dogs, except for 2 of her beginning fights where China fought but still bled more than the other dog and had part of her ear sliced. She'd won by bearing down on the other dog, by grabbing his throat with her teeth, her face with a fist. The other dog would yelp, and Skeet would call her off, and that is how everyone would know that China had won. Now, no dogs sniff China. No dogs lop over to her and playfully snap, mouth her face or her shoulder. She and Skeet stand apart, and when the first fight begins between the first 2 dogs, they are the only 2 that stand still. The fight is quick, messy. The dogs meet in the middle and tumble around the side of the pond bed, kicking up dirt and golden grass and sticks and blood. They twist and snarl and whine. The gray shrieks first, but it is the brown and white that falls, pulls away, wanting out of the harsh light. The burning bowl, the searing puffs of wind, the nail, the jerk, the tooth. The boys grab the dogs by the hind legs and pull them away from each other, cuss, and then let them go again. Junior is bouncing from foot to foot on his toes behind Big Henry, who wipes at his neck, even though he is wiping so often there's no time for sweat to gather. Randall, who had been flipping the stick over and over like a band major, has stopped, and he stares at the fight and holds the stick like a club. The gray is pulled away, yelping, while the brown and the white one still strains against the boy's hands. Skeeta pets the watching China once, just a touch to the head, and she licks his finger. She never pulls away. Ojack got him, the Gray's boy says. Admitting defeat, the brown and the white boy smiles, rubs his dog's head. Marquis' dog Layla hops like a rabbit into the bowl, her gold bars flashing, and barks toward the brown and white dog as if she wants to congratulate him. Ojak is still eager. He twists like a question mark, yanks one leg from his boy's hand and bites. Layla skids to a stop, but the brown and white still sinks his teeth into her leg like a stapler. His boy pulls, and Marquise yanks Layla's leash with both hands. The brown and the white lets go, growling. Hold, his boy yells. Son of a bitch, Marquise screams, and Layla limps to him, yelping. He kneels over her, and she melts into him, true to her butter color. The dogs bark and rise up on their hind legs, pulling at their leashes, and the boys strain against them. China shifts on her feet, and her breasts sway. Skeeta shakes his head and spits. The boys curl the leashes around their wrists, weave them up in their arms. The dogs choke themselves to a standstill, laying their chins on their paws on the straw and grass. Marquise's dog will not stop whimpering, and when he puts his hand over her lips, slob runs through. After the next fight, Marquise lets her go, and she sits with her back to his legs, facing the woods, and bows her head. Junior runs over to her, pets her head. By the time all the dogs but Kilo and Boss have fought, Layla's sitting with her bottom in Marquise's little brother's lap, her head on Junior's thigh, and she is licking his leg. Rico and Kilo walk into the bowl. The other dogs and boys are breathing hard, bloody, wearing sweaty coats. Rico smiles as Kilo grins, stocky but tall where his master is short. His coat is red as the dirt under the pine needles, clean and dry as that. Rico winds the leash around his fists, winds Kilo in, pats him along the rough length of his side, looks up and says, "We ready?" Jerome leaves us. Boss waddles next to him. They stop a few feet away from Kilo and Rico. Boss flings his head up twice at Jerome, tapping the leash with his forehead, smiling, and Jerome squats next to him, slowly whispering into his ear. Across the circle, Rico mouths something into Kilo's ear, but the wind blows again, and a cloud covers the sun, and their voices are lost in the whispering shuffle of the trees around us. And then the wind lags and catches again, and the clouds move, and the clearing is a bright ball, and Jerome hollers, "Ready!" and unhooks the leash from Boss as Rico backs away from Kilo. Boss and Kilo aren't tethered to anything or anyone, and they are rolling across the bowl, furious at the other who stands in their eyesight, who has not lowered tail or head. "Get him, son," Jerome yells. He claps an exclamation and marks, and over, "Get him." They meet at the middle. They rise up on their hind legs at the same time, front legs meeting shoulder to shoulder like they are dancing. Boss's head, dull black, whips around first. He is the first to bite. Kilo rears back and twists away. He snaps as he falls and sinks his teeth into Boss's neck. Shake him, Rico yells, leaning so far over that he looks like he's going to fall face down in the circle. Kilo ignores him. Kilo bites and lets go, snaps and bites again. His teeth flash white, flash red, flash again. "Grab him, boy," Rico yells. Boss does not want to be grabbed. His head is a knife, and he cuts a leaking gash on Kilo's shoulder. He sets Kilo to running red. He is slower than Kilo, but he is strong. "Come on, son," Jerome yells. They both fall, separate. Kilo jumps up before Boss and growls, rushes back in. Boss lumbers to his feet and meets Kilo. They are teeth to teeth. They chew at each other's face, kissing. They growl into each other's throats. "Come on, son," Jerome yells. But Boss thinks he has been called and that he should run to Jerome. He whirls and pours through the air, black as burnt oil, and jerks to a puddle in the dirt because Kilo has borne down on him. His teeth in Boss's back. Boss flings himself back at Kilo, his growl a great rip. "Call him," Jerome yells. The fight is no longer clean. Jerome has made a mistake. "Kilo," Rico shouts, and he grabs Kilo by his hind legs. "Kilo." It is more of a cough than a yell. Kilo lets go, tosses his head through a cloud of dust and hair and droplets of blood. Jerome grabs Boss by his front legs. Rico drags Kilo by his hind legs across the bowl away from Boss. Both dogs are peppered in cuts. Rico's shirt is not so white anymore. Jerome kneels, presses his rag into the wound on Boss's back. It shows black through the rag, and when he wipes the gash, the blood runs clean. He presses again, waits until it's a trickle. Boss's white muzzle is streaked with red. Jerome nods at Rico. Again, Jerome calls. Yeah, says Rico. Junior lets Layla's head fall into the dirt. I'm going back to the trees, he says to Marquise's little brother. You coming? They leave Layla to sit up, looking confused. Big Henry stands with his arms crossed over his chest. Randall stares at Boss's back, his stick hanging at the side of his leg before he flips it up to rest on his shoulder, and he sighs. Jerome slaps Boss on his haunch, and he is off again to the clearing to meet Kilo. The two dogs blur into one. They have 2 heads, 4 legs, 2 tails. They are an ancient beast, fierce, all growling hunger rising up out of the sea. Boss's head whips back, distinct for a blink, and he buries his teeth into behind Kilo's shoulder. Shit, Randall breathes. Kilo gurgles and bends himself, almost in two, grabbing Boss's front leg. Shake him, son, shake him, Rico yells. Get him, Jerome shouts. They are boiling, red against black. Kilo is trying to shake blood loose. Boss growls and shakes his head again and again, giving back to Kilo what he has given. Neither rips, neither folds. They're even, Big Henry says. Boss and Kilo's teeth are grinding into each other, and with each asking and answering jerk, they are sharpening the knives of their canines on a wet stone of flesh. Both hold. Neither will give. Call it, Skeeter says. Boss, Jerome's yell, and grabs Boss's back legs and drags. Kilo, Rico grabs. The dogs pull apart, are dragged away. Boss has many cuts, and his white muzzle has never been white, has always been red. Kilo's red shoulders look spread with redder yarn, a ratty maroon shawl, and his breathing is the loudest sound in the clearing over the dying and rising wind. Daddy's hurricane is sending out feelers. Kilo got it, Rico says. Bullshit, says Jerome. What you talking about? He had him, says Manny. I don't know what you saw, but it sure wasn't Kilo winning, says Marquise. Everybody saw Kilo got him, says Rico's friend, wearing the white shoes which have turned yellow-brown. Everybody didn't see shit. It was even, says Big Henry, and suddenly everyone is talking at the same time. Kilo had him. No, Boss had him. Nigga, you blind? No, you. All the boys argue. The dogs around them bark and roll in the pine and lick their wounds and wag their tails. They raise their wet noses to the moving wind. Rico rises from wiping Kilo, who bleeds and smiles. Rico clips Kilo's leash and leads his dog, who saunters with his head down across the clearing to us. Rico is frowning at Skeeter, who still stands apart on the edge of the bowl, one finger a hair's width above China's head. She is so bright it is hard to look at her. So when I get my puppy, Rico asked Skeeter. My dog ain't lose, said Jerome, clipping and standing. Ain't no clear winner, says Marquise. You hear everybody talking? It's a draw, Randall says, and he moves forward to stand next to Jerome, facing Rico. Rico sniffs and spits. I wish the wind would catch it, throw it back in his face or on his shoes, on his white shoes. Randall's stick is across his shoulders and behind his neck, and his arms hang over it like a scarecrow. Big Henry shadows him, flanks Marquise. Manny starts walking across the clearing, the boy with the yellowed shoes behind him. They are all coming, all meeting in the middle like the dogs. I said, Rico points his finger at Skeeter and China, who pants at his side, where's my puppy? He walks towards Skeet and the boys who have moved into a loose cell around Rico and Jerome. Marquise is bouncing on his toes, curling his hands. If I were a boy, I would fight like Marquise, I think. No, says Jerome, my dog didn't lose. Most it is a draw. I gives a fuck what you say, says Rico, his finger now swinging at Jerome. His eyes on Skeeter. I want the white one. It's a draw. It's a tie. Randall blocks Rico and stands in front of Skeeter. He rolls his shoulders, grabs the stick in one hand, swings it wide, and holds it like a baseball bat. Everyone is drawing together in a knot, tighter and tighter. Black against the day. You can't decide it. Yeah, Skeeter says, we can. He unhooks the dull, heavy chain from China's neck, smiles, and she smiles with him. How you gonna fight her? Randall scream whispered at Skeeter after Rico started laughing and led Kilo across the clearing to rub him down. She's a mother. The boys and their dogs spread around the circle in the clearing, the knot loose and frayed, and he's a father, Skeeter said, motioning toward Kilo. And what the fucking difference does that make? China knows Skeeter sighed. Her titties, Randall said, are for the puppies. And you don't have to worry about that, Skeeter breathed. The puppies, Randall said. What about the puppies? We all fight, said Skeeter. Everybody. Now leave me the fuck alone so I can talk to my dog, he said. Randall, Junior, and Marquise's little brother have scampered down from their mimosa tree. Skeeter gonna fight China? Go back up your tree, Randall says. I mean it. Up. Go ahead, I tell Junior, and don't come down till it's done. Junior picks up a stick, throws it at Marquise's little brother, who wears a bright little green shirt dusted with pink flowers from the tree and jean shorts with creases. His mother did that, I think.